Hi there, good afternoon. I am back in the area where I'm from in Northern California, Mendocino County. That is Lake Mendocino there, a reservoir. I am going on another walk to record this video and heard about a new area to explore around the lake, which might be up this gated road. Not exactly sure, but let's go for it. So, wanted to mention here at the beginning, then I have a cold, arrived here visiting family, and the first day that I arrive, get a sore throat and go into the whole, coughing, and not the worst by any means, but a little odd that after 8 months straight of traveling without getting sick, I get sick the day that I get back home. So, in my last video, then I talked about the very sad story of my friend Abram, who has been missing for more than 3 years. This video, unfortunately, has a more conclusive and tragic ending to it, which is that my friend John Dawson, who many of you will know about because we went trekking in the Himalayas of Nepal in spring of 2016, and unfortunately then he died that same year in Varanasi, India, just a week after I said goodbye to him in Kathmandu, Nepal, where I then flew to Greece a day or two later after I said goodbye to him and his friend. I was also with my friend Francesca from Italy, who many of you will also recognize.
Okay, you will see.
What?
You will see.
Oh yes, whoa. Holy.
We only have a room here.
Yeah.
To ourselves.
Oh, and you can jump off of this.
Yes, yes, yes.
What?
Which way are you going to do for sure? Are you going to jump from there?
Yeah, definitely. So, I met her for the first time in Nepal, and the four of us went out to dinner the night that John and, I think that I might have just said the guy's name, which I did not intend to, so I'm going to remove that from the video there, edit his name out, John's friend, and instead I will call him Adam. So, John and Adam and Francesca and I had dinner in Kathmandu, said goodbye to John and Adam, and that was the last that I saw of him. So I'm going to go way back in time, or at least a few months, and tell the story of what happened. First, let's see if this is going anywhere. Okay, I think that I'm going to get back down the hill and continue walking along the road by the lake there. So, John and I met in Battambang, Cambodia. It was at the end of my trip to Cambodia. I went from Siem Reap and the amazing temples of Angkor Wat to Battambang to see something different. It was kind of a short trip because I had this flight booked, an amazing deal on a flight direct from Siem Reap, Cambodia to Kathmandu, Nepal for I think like $107, and I had booked that previously while I was in Thailand and then went into Cambodia for about like 2 weeks, I think, maybe 10 days, something like that. And so I took a bus to Battambang and then stayed at a hostel where I booked a day tour for the next day, a full day tour that went to all of these different places around Battambang. Very interesting tour. And the last thing to see at the end of the day was this place where you view bats flying out of a cave like clockwork at a specific time. Millions of them fly out of this cave in this cliff and go out to feed for the evening. That is where I met John. I have a video clip of literally like a minute or two, just a few minutes after having met him. So here it is. I'm getting food on.
I was gonna say,
little, feels like little raindrops.
I was literally thinking, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, probably best not to look up with your mouth open. So how that meeting ended up taking place is that I sat down to watch the bats flying out of the cave by myself. The rest of the group was around as well. And while I was sitting there, I saw John walk up towards me and then walk up to me and say hello. He was staying at the same hostel that I was staying at in Battambang. He recognized me. I hadn't noticed him, and he just decided to say hey. So we just took a seat there, and we ended up talking, waiting for the bats, and then watching the bats. I think hung out later that evening, and in the course of our talking, then I mentioned to him that I was planning to go trekking in Nepal, that I had this flight booked 2 or 3 days later out of Siem Reap. And in the course of discussions, then he basically mentioned that he was also considering it. I'm not sure like how certain his plans had been, or if it was just something kind of in the back of his mind, like, yeah, it'd be cool to go to Nepal. I don't believe that he had been there before. Got some local wildlife on this water tank. So we basically decided to meet up in Nepal. He didn't have a flight booked or anything, but he sounded pretty, keen on it and committed to going through with it. However, he had something else to do. I forget if it was just see more of Cambodia or something specific or whatever, but he planned to meet me in Nepal a few weeks later, and then we would meet up and do the Annapurna circuit trek together. I was planning to do the Annapurna base camp trek already, and then do the Annapurna circuit next after that. I was planning to get the 90-day visa on arrival in Nepal and then spend quite a while, 2 to 3 months in Nepal. And so I figured I would do the Annapurna base camp trek first, which I had done already previously in 2008. Then wait for him to show up, and then we would do the Annapurna circuit trek together, which is a longer trek that goes around the Annapurna range of mountains. Do that one with John. So I arrive in Kathmandu, and when I got there, then I met up with my friend Francesca from Italy. And the last trek that I did in Nepal was in the Lengteng National Park.
Interesting. Do you want chomen, momos, or tukpa?
I'll try tukpa.
Tukpa. Vegetarian or?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. So 1 vegetarian tukpa, 2 chomen.
We had known each other online for a while, but hadn't met yet. She was working for a non-profit organization in Kathmandu, and so that was just kind of a coincidental thing that I would be able to meet up with her as well. And so I get into Kathmandu and spend 5-6 days there, something like that, maybe a week. Make a bunch of videos around Kathmandu, including with Francesca. And then I said goodbye to her and took off from Kathmandu, caught a bus to Pokhara, the closest city to start the Annapurna treks. Now, as things turned out, I got sick in Pokhara, just out of the blue, really bad. And I was down for like 10 days. So my plan to do the Annapurna Base Camp trek first solo got delayed, pushed back. And I ended up just waiting there for John to arrive. And he did. He showed up in Pokhara, knocked on my door. I was still getting over the cold, but at the tail end of it. I will post a playlist below this video if you want to see more of our trekking experiences and more of John from London, England. Very cool guy. And yeah, just a really, really sad story. I will, get to what happened in Varanasi. And so somehow then we met up with Germany from Phil. That is the mistake that I made at the beginning of that video. His name was Phil and he's from Germany. But at the beginning of that video I accidentally said John from England and Germany from Phil. All right, folks, we're getting started on the Annapurna Base Camp trek. I'm here with John from England. Yo. And Germany from Phil. Phil from Germany. This is my second time doing this trek. First time for these guys. And then John and I will be doing the circuit trek after that. So this is going to be like 3 weeks for us. Looking forward to it. As we can see here, this haze is pretty kind of annoying, but looking forward to getting up higher and seeing the high peaks of the Himalayas. Ready to hit the trail here. Let's do it. Okay. So Phil from Germany somehow joined us, and I don't remember why. Maybe John had met him somewhere. But anyways, the three of us get started on the Annapurna Base Camp trek. Hike up to Annapurna Base Camp. I won't get lost in telling much of this story. A really amazing experience. At one point, then I got behind them because I had too much weight, and so this is a very important tip when it comes to trekking in Nepal is try not to carry too much. I had brought all this like extra food because I was going to save money by carrying some food instead of buying it along the way. And then also because of the cold, then I was just dragging and let them go ahead. And so I completed that trek by myself as far as getting up to the base camp at the top. And then luckily, very coincidentally, then I ran into them on my way back down, and so we completed the trek together. We went back to Pokhara together, and then Phil was continuing on with his travels, I guess, and wasn't planning on joining us on the bigger trek, the Annapurna circuit. And so John and I hung out in Pokhara for a few days, I forget exactly, but got ready for the next trek. And then took the bus to the starting point for that trek. And from there, took a Jeep, probably a Mahindra, the common type of four-wheel vehicle in that part of the world, up a crazy, crazy, death-defying road.
Having fun yet? Yeah! Oh yes! So fun!
Taking my life in my hands.
No, not at all. The Himalayas are perfectly safe. Holy crap.
This is pretty fearful.
To basically skip part of the first few days of the trek, get further up there, and then start the trekking from there. So a day of traveling by bus and then catching that Jeep up to where we spent the night that night and then started the trek. The Annapurna Circuit trek is absolutely incredible. We did the side route to a lake. I'm forgetting what that lake is called. I will put it down below. But
we fucking made it.
Hell yeah, 16,000 feet to Lecha Lake. One of the most incredible places been in the world, absolutely. Thanks for watching, lots more adventure to come. Take it easy. Happy trails. We headed up that way and then came back and then continued. So the way that it works with the treks oftentimes is that you see the same people over and over again. Because you're hiking, you know, the same route and end up staying sometimes at the same lodges. And so this was happening especially on this trek, partly because it was like peak season. And so we were recognizing people along the way. And so as a result, then John ended up making friends with another guy, Adam, who was on that trek as well. We never like fully like met up and hiked together, but he kept seeing him at different points and kind of befriended him. And for some reason I wasn't really involved in that. I'd seen him, but didn't end up talking with him, I don't believe, in the course of the trek itself. And then once we got over the pass, the high pass. Hell yeah! Damn straight! Up a crooked path! I think this has got to be it. This can't be the pre-celebratory Tibetan flag thing. Oh yeah. Congratulations for the success. Hope you enjoyed the trek in Maneng. See you again. Maybe so. And looking down the other side, more amazing mountains. Yeah, that was insane in a good way. You want to kick it somewhere for a bit, or?
I don't really mind, man.
I'd like to take a seat and eat a granola bar. Probably like right over here is best. Yeah. High five. Yeah. And now I wonder what peaks those are. We'll have to find out. On the other side, then John decided to catch a ride back into Pokhara for some reason. I forget. I think that he had some things to take care of, life plans. But I continued my trekking for another week or so. And then once I got back to Pokhara, then I met up with John, and then that might be when I first met and talked with Adam. From Pokhara, we all went back to Kathmandu, and then my friend Francesca had this river rafting trip planned and invited myself and John. I don't believe that Adam was on that river rafting excursion down a river somewhere between Kathmandu and Pokhara. And so the three of us, myself, Francesca, and John, and then other people, there was a whole group, went on that like a day trip. Now I forget if it was that same day or probably the next day or something. Then we planned a dinner with Adam and John, because the next day they were taking the bus from Kathmandu direct to Varanasi. And so we had our dinner and then said goodbye, see you later. So I hoped. Do another trek together, meet up in England, whatever. We just spent, you know, basically like 6 weeks or something like that doing these, you know, amazing adventures together in the Himalayas. So considered him, you know, a good friend at that point and hope to see him again. But it wasn't meant to be. So they went to Varanasi. The last post that I remember of his on Facebook was he had gotten a haircut and he wasn't too happy about it in Varanasi. It looked fine to me, but that was his post, was, you know, something about he kind of got butchered by a Indian barber in Varanasi. So I flew from Kathmandu to Athens, Greece, direct flight. And then spent a few days in Athens getting ready for what was going to be my second big Greek islands mountain biking trip. And so I buy the mountain bike. Many of you have heard that story. I've told it multiple times of being in Athens and trying to find a bike and not finding anything decent, and then kind of last minute I come across this used bike for 60 euros that was like really awesome bike. Get on the ferry the next day, head for Santorini. I found a really cheap hostel there, like 8 or 9 euros, and booked in for something like 8, 9, 10 days or something like that, because it was so cheap and I was on a super extreme tight budget at the time of like $30 a day. I had been at the hostel there in Parissa Beach on Santorini for just a few days when I got a message on Facebook from Adam, who I don't think that I was even friends with on Facebook, but he'd found me. His message was very shocking. It was, John died in the bathroom of our hotel last night. I'm trying to contact his family. I was, you know, like, is this a joke or something? You know, that was my first thing, was there could be some other thing going on here. This isn't real. But obviously it was. Nobody would contact me who I barely knew, making a joke, you know, like that. And so I then contacted Francesca and informed her, and she was super shocked about that. Adam did manage to get through to his family. So the obvious question is, what happened? And this is where I have to leave things a bit vague, because for one thing, it isn't exactly known. John and Adam had arrived in Varanasi and got a room together. Been there a couple of days. We're walking around, checking things out, enjoying one of the most incredible cities in the world. Wow, quite some graffiti here. And then the night that he died, then I guess John basically had locked himself in the bathroom, and Adam realized something was wrong and somehow managed to like see through a crack or get up and see over the door or something like that, and saw John lying there. So this could be part of an abandoned winery that I had heard about. My stepdad told me about this hike and said that there was a abandoned winery. I thought that it was going to be more up on the hill and that I had gone a different way. But maybe this is part of it. So, the autopsy later concluded that he had died as a result of heart failure. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Because it is unknown, there is speculation. But I don't want to speculate incorrectly about what exactly happened. And so I later would hear from his mother and sister contacting me, asking, you know, just some information. What did I know about his state, you know? And I had noticed nothing particularly out of the ordinary that would give me any clue as to what ultimately led to this. And so I realized it's kind of a little frustrating to have it be left kind of open, hanging, not clear what exactly happened, but it is not known exactly what happened there. Wow, quite a view. So there was a news article written about him in a Varanasi newspaper and published online, I believe. I will try to find that and post the link down below just for a little extra information. And also the link to the videos. Some of my most amazing adventures, filmed with my old camera, not the best quality, but of course, especially when I've gone back to Nepal again on my last trip in 2019, and was certainly thinking about him a lot. And so I guess the sort of moral of the story is, you never know what is going to be your last day. And so, live life to the fullest. Enjoy it as much as you can. Oh. Lizard there. Make the most of it and try not to have any regrets. Either way, then, you don't have absolute control over your destiny. That is just the cycle of life and afterlife. Whatever exists in the next realm. All right. That's all for now. I do have some other video ideas, some of which are also not so uplifting, but these two videos are the worst ones that I wanted to record and get out there and just tell their stories and inform you guys of what had happened to somebody that many of you knew. All right, have a good one.
That is glacial water there, so it is basically freezing.